are in listen-only mode.
Welcome back to Young Engineers of the Day. I am Mr. Pearson, and I am going to be your instructor for the next hour today, another hour after that, and a few more times throughout the course of the semester. One person looks like they're still logging in, or my eyes playing tricks on me. Looks like, yep, all right, everybody's here. All right, so today we are going to do a brief, and I do mean brief, intro into HTML. And HTML is actually pretty simple. It's just a little bit different. For me, it's like a different way of thinking about the code. I think about code in one certain track of mind, and HTML is slightly different from that. But I can adapt and overcome. Setting up, and we're going to be creating your first web page. In a very basic web page at that. I'll talk a little bit about what is HTML, how does it work, and again, your very basic web page. Something's going weird over here. Can everybody hear me all right? I'm saying I have degraded audio quality. Raise your hands if you can hear me just fine. All right, cool. So I'm not having, all right, well, whatever this error message is. All right, why are we creating a Google site, or why are we teaching you this stuff here? One is for e-portfolios to demonstrate our learning, to show off your work and projects, and to show others how awesome you are. Now I'm going to add a different actual practical application besides that, other than make a website, is that when, and I do stress the when part of when y'all actually get into engineering school and you start studying and you get into your engineering classes, you're going to be asked to do projects, and the bigger projects that you do, like the introduction to engineering is actually a pretty big one, and the junior design, senior design challenges. All of those things, you have to be able to design a website to show off your work. So that is one thing that is actually part of the actual engineering school. All right? And it doesn't hurt to know just a little bit of basic stuff. One of the main things we're going to be using is Google Site. We are going to teach you a little bit of HTML, as I've said. As I said a few times, very basic knowledge of it. But Google Sites is really easy. It's free. Main thing. It has a whole lot of templates already built into it, so it doesn't take. So you don't have to do a whole lot of work, and you can customize look and feel. So that is one thing we are going to cover today. And like when you get into college, this stuff here is not covered in engineering school unless you're doing computer science or computer engineering, which I'm not. So a few things about internet safety. And this doesn't only go here. This also goes, throughout life. Don't share information about your family, relatives, or your friends. So don't be posting your sister's or your brother's diary online. They probably would not like that too much. Don't share your full name, address, phone numbers, or location of your house to anyone on the internet, because you never know who's the axe murderer. I'm sure there's at least one out there, and with my luck, if I was to give that information out, they'd come to my house. Do tell your parents about the Google site, so let them know that we are making a website. You can make your site private or give link access only. Is this another part of it? Yep. Anything on the web can be seen by anyone, and this also means the iCloud and the share drive of Microsoft and Dropbox. Pretty much, if it's online, if your computer's hooked up to the internet, somebody can access the information. It's just that simple. It depends on how much of a target you are. Personally, if somebody targets me, that's just sad, because I literally have nothing, no money, no nothing. But some people might have a little bit more money or whatever, a little bit more information, so they might come after you. One thing I will add to this internet search safety stuff, and it's one thing that I had to learn the hard way, is when you're signing up for forums or bank account sites or whatever, they ask you a series of security questions, and you usually get to pick like what was the name of your first dog or your first pet. You don't have to actually put in, Fluffy the dog or Gobbles the goldfish, whatever. You can make up like whatever name. Like I wouldn't even use the name of your first pet. Come up with another name to use and use that throughout all your websites. Because if you're sitting there talking with some friends, and sometimes the information might get put out there that comes up in those sites. So just because it says, what was your first car, you don't have to put in, 1965 Chevy Chevelle hatchback with gold trim on the rims and all that other stuff. That was not my first car. I wish it was. But you can put in 88 Grand Prix or Dodge Caravan or whatever. So just a little FYI. HTML basics. What is HTML? It's hypertext markup language. It first appeared back in 1991. It became a global standard in 2000. And by that, it means pretty much every website everywhere is made in HTML to some extent. This means that every single website uses HTML. There's HTML5 out there, which is the newest version. I'll just cover that in a little bit, but let me show you this real quick. So, yeah, I'm going to one of my favorite websites here. Star Talk Radio, Neil deGrasse Tyson, awesome little podcast going on here. So here, and y'all don't have to do this, I'm just showing you, by the way. So I just right-click on the web page, hit, inspect element, and then all this stuff here is HTML. And this is what makes this website run. Now, one thing I did try, because I was curious to see if I just copy all this stuff, paste it into what we're about to do, and if it'll work. Yeah, it doesn't quite work that easily. You have to have assets and stuff like that. But you will understand that, like, what this thing is, and maybe, I don't understand, that's JavaScript stuff here probably. Link and all this other fun stuff. You'll be able to at least identify some of the keywords in here. And that was just right-click and inspect element too, by the way. Does somebody just show up? Oh, okay. I'm hearing things. Now, one thing about this, the HTML and how it works, or how any programming works online, it's not just HTML. It's also behind the scenes. You got some JavaScript going. You have CSS going. You have the I'm going to screw up this acronym, but it's like ICPL, which is like the Internet Standard Protocol, I think. So it's not just HTML, but HTML kind of streamlines the process for you, so you don't have to learn everything about every language. HTML4 is the one that's been around forever. They just upgraded within the last year to HTML5. It's not the newest version. It's not the standard language yet for the website or for World Wide Web, but it will be very shortly. So if you actually are trying to learn how to do website design, HTML5 would be the way to go. So how does it work? That's always the main question. That's always one of the most important questions of how did it work. And by the way, you can stop and ask me questions anytime you need to. So the way we're going to do it is actually going to be pretty simple. And we're going to type up a document in Notepad, and then we're just going to save that to our computer, and we can access it that way to kind of see what's going on. But how it works on the internet is the same process, just instead of saving this document that we type up to our computer, we save it to a server. And we save it to some server somewhere. That server could be in Bangladesh or Bangkok or Sweden or Ireland, wherever, it doesn't matter. And then when you type in the address into your browser, it goes back and it accesses that HTML doc, but instead of seeing all this stuff, you see the website like you see on before you now, and then you shout with joy and glee because you open up a web page. Did that make sense to everybody? What I was explaining here? So when you actually type up, has anybody used HTML before? Raise your hands if you actually typed in your used HTML. One person? Okay. Few of you. Two of me. All right. Cool. So, do I have? Yeah. All right. Started morning. So it's pretty much HTML is pretty much how your computer and YouTube talk. So the people behind YouTube or Reddit or Star Talk Radio, that's how the information is passed back and forth. Is through, HTTP. That's another one of the languages that are behind the scenes. HTML. Let me see if I can say this correctly. HTTP is a part of HTML5. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, that's what allows something to transfer of data and all that other fun stuff. So how does the actual HTML part of it work? Well, your browser takes the raw information of the HTML file, whatever words or structures are typed up into it. And then it converts it in real time into a web page. So you don't actually see the words behind it. You just see the pretty artwork and all that other fun stuff. And depends on how codes are structured. Like me, I'm a big fan of Google Chrome, so I use it all the time. But there are some websites that Google Chrome runs slow on, and versus maybe, I say this very lightly, Internet Explorer might be able to run it faster. Might, doubt it. This is actually Internet Explorer changed a lot here lately. But that's in the way the HTML code is structured. All right, it's the same thing like writing a Mac program or writing a Java program on a Windows computer and try loading it on a Mac. It might run a little bit slower or faster on the Mac side or the Windows side. So professional web developers, they use big fancy IDEs like this here, which is Adobe Dreamweaver. All right, and these IDEs, integrated development environments, allow you for certain tools and stuff, and tools and the ability to preview every aspect of your web page. They give you a lot more options as far as how your code is structured. We're not going to be getting into anything really fancy, like I said, for this to justify this. But if you do want to actually learn HTML, there are free IDEs out there. I'm not sure what they are. I'm a hardware guy, so I'm not really interested in the website development. But hey, one of y'all might be, and it's all, hey, go for it. So a few things here before I go on to my next thing. Give me a roll call of Windows and Macs. If you have a Windows, let me know. If you have a Mac, let me know. Oh, Windows 8. Dadgummit. Chelsea, did you downgrade to Windows 7? I thought you had 8. Vista? Alright, cool. So no Mac users is what I'm saying. Unless, oh, that's what it was. My bad. Alright, cool. Yeah. I do like 7 better than 8, but that might be because I'm more used to 7. And 8 just is, 8 is a pain. Ugh. Actually, one of the main reasons I won't get 8 is because of a few students last semester that just did nothing work right. All right, so we don't have to worry about the, so cool, in this class, so nobody has a Mac in this class. So I do not have to worry about the differences between Windows and Mac. Awesome. Cool, so we won't even worry. I will just skip right over the Mac stuff. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Whew. All right, cool. So here's how we're going to do it now. Instead of using a fancy IDE, what we're going to be using is Notepad. Now exists on every single computer, everybody's computer. So go ahead and open it up, and you'll have a blank thing. Now, the way we're going to do this is I'm going to try to explain this better than I think I did last time. Is so Java, C++, Perl, SQL, all that stuff can be formatted the same, can be typed out the way we're doing it here with the Notepad. But it just takes a lot. It's a lot harder to do it that way because you don't get the error recognition and stuff like that. For HTML, it's really not that difficult, so we're going to keep it the simplest way possible. But just know that the way we're doing HTML, you can also do it. You can also do Java, C++, pretty much any other programming language like we're doing it now. I don't recommend it, but it is possible. All right. So one thing I failed to mention. So when you open up your browser, like when that browser connects to that document, it translates and compiles everything at that point in time. So there's no compiling time, I should say. There's air quotes there, like you'll see in some of the later programming languages we'll do. All right. So, all right. We don't have to do Mac stuff. We don't have to do Mac stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, okay, here's what I was getting to. Simply put, HTML at its base is entirely plain text and not, what I got? Yeah, let's search safe. Plain text and not translated until the very last moment. So I guess what this is really trying to say here is that this is the most important part. It's not translated to the very last moment of whatever it is you're doing. That's how you get the live streaming stuff. It's because it's not translated to a split second beforehand. If you're doing another programming language, say Arduino, which you're going to be doing, if you make a change to the code, you have to wait. You have to compile it and upload it and do a few other steps. It's not a live, instantaneous thing like HTML is. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. You already have a compiler, and you put it in quotes, built into your computer. It actually accesses the RAM and RAM of your computer and is able to make it so you can hear me now. Yeah, you don't need fancy tools to start developing web pages. So let's get started. I will probably be like that later tonight. I got a whole lot of stuff to do. So HTML is a structured language with discrete keywords. As with most programming languages, you have certain keywords that do certain things. And they have these things called tags in there, and the tags are the keywords that allow certain things to happen at certain times or certain places. It's important to note that in HTML, the majority of tags come in pairs. So if you have one tag that says, as on the screen here, HTML, you have to have the other one that says /HTML. All right, so you have an opening. The way I think of it is I think of an opening bracket and a closing bracket. That'll make a little bit more sense when we go further down. Yeah, so paired tags. This is actually just an important concept in HTML. You have to have, if you have one, you have to have the closing one. So and you'll get a more feel for that. Let me just kind of go on because I think I just kind of keep repeating myself there. So here we go. Here is our first web page we're going to create. Actually, let's just go ahead. I already have mine typed up. All right. So I'm going to stick with that. But I want y'all to go ahead and type this stuff out and raise your hands when you're done. And I will twiddle my thumbs. Tyson, did you have 8 last semester? Remember those 8 last semester? Okay. I was thinking you did. I was thinking you were one of the students that had an issue with Unity, I think it was. Well, that you were that Mr. Coleman. I might be Mr. Coleman. Has anybody gotten a package from us yet? Cool. If you haven't gotten it yet, Jacob, let me know by next class, because you should be getting it here pretty soon. All right, and in that package, I know there's a lot of cool things in there that you want to play with. Just be careful and don't lose anything. Looking at you, Dennis. What's up, Tyson?
I have a question. Is there, I'm typing this up, does it make a difference if there's spaces in between the line, like, there's two spaces in between the line HTML and head? Does it matter if there's a space in between those lines, or is it just so you can see things easier?
Good question. Put you on mute because I have an echo there. No, it does not matter. The only thing that matters if you have head here, you have to have the closing head right here, and the order of it. But no, it does not matter. Like the mine here, you see mine with all kinds of different here. I have HTML here, and all the other stuff's here. So no, it does not matter. Good question though. In Python, it does matter, and in this one, it does not. You gotta type that out, Celsi? Put your hand up so I'll know. All right, cool. So, let me put y'all's hands down here. All right. So, one thing about this, most of y'all haven't had me, like I'm not a read from the slides teacher. If I'm having y'all type something now, I usually start typing along with y'all too. Because, yeah, you just learn from my mistakes, except for this time because I was being lazy. All right. So first thing we're going to do, and hang on. Let me minimize this. All right. So go to File and go to Save As. File, Save As. And I already have it, but I am going to move. Save it as whatever name you want to. I don't really care for this particular instruction. Sometimes I will be kind of picky about that, but this time I'm not. So whatever name you want to, and then put .html, and try to save it to your desktop. It just make your life a lot easier to find it, and mine too. So Mr. Pearson's .html, or Mr. Roseman's .html, or dillpickle.html. The name, I don't really care. But just make sure you have that .html. I do care about that, and save it to your desktop. Yes, I'm going to replace it. And here is mine right here. You should be able to see yours. Some icon with the name you've chosen. And if you actually double click it, nothing happens because you haven't typed anything to it. All right. So now, come back here. We did that. All right, so I did that. Okay, now let's come here. All right. So this, and if you're not on my screen, come to my screen, so I can explain what's going on. So this here, this .type.html, this is the only thing this is letting the computer know or the server know that we're using HTML5. Now we can probably do our entire code that we're doing without this because we're not really doing anything that's HTML5-ish, but I do want y'all to be getting used to it, getting a handle of using HTML or HTML5. This HTML and this HTML. Alright, so this is the opening one. This is the closing one. This says where our code starts. This says where our code stops. Alright, that's pretty much all that's saying. I say, hey computer, I start here, and I go here, and I stop, and it doesn't care about anything in between yet. The headers, and header is like the title of our page. So I'm going to come over here somewhere, and I'm going to type in this is the title thingy. Perfect. Alright. Oh, one thing that gets me in trouble in coding languages is, coding languages don't have a spell check. I'm really horrible at spelling, so that is just one thing to watch out for. This is the title thingy, so the head of this head part here, this head tag, it's where it's like a, I'm trying to think how to explain this better. It's like it's like your head. It stores all the information that your body needs. Alright, that your body needs to work. So this stores all the information, like your brain, that your body needs to work. Alright, that's kind of one way of thinking about it. Alright, and then here we're going to type in this is the body. And I'm going to go to File, Save. Now you don't have to actually close out that separate web page. You can just kind of go to it and refresh it, and you should see something like this. Alright, raise your hands when you see something like this. And again, the words, I don't really care about the words this time around. There will be sometimes, like I said, I will be very, very picky. This is not going to be one of them. If I'm being picky, though, I usually have a reason to be picky. I'm not picky just for sake of being picky. Alright, raise your hands when you can see it. And here, I'll even pull up the code, too. And if you're having problems, let me know. I'll help you out. Y'all, pardon me, I'm trying to do a thermodynamics homework too at the same time. How do you get the web page? So if you saved it to your desktop, you should see an icon with the file name, and you just double click and it should bring it open, or it should bring it open for you. It might have Internet Explorer or something like that on there, but here I use Chrome. You might have Firefox, whatever emblem that is your default web browser. I think is what's going to show up. What's the conversion factor to Kelvin, Celsius to Kelvin? It's negative 2. No, 32, yeah, negative 2. I see you, Tyson. Hang on one second, sir. Alright, if it shows up as Notepad, Jacob, I don't think you saved it correctly. So go back to the thing, go to File, Save, Save As, and make sure you put a .html at the end of it.
Unmuted.
What's up, Tyson?
Okay, so I have the Google Chrome emblem with Tyson or whatever I named it, and when I open it opens up to the web page, but when I go back to edit it to add in this is the title or this is the body, it won't let me get back to the Notepad program because when I was saving it, I accidentally clicked out of after I saved it, I exited out of Notepad.
Oh, okay. All right. I think you can do. Go to Open with, use default program, browse, found Notepad. Wow, it's
Okay,
bad.
browse. Notepad. Let me search.
Mr. Jacob saying that he tried Blender, working with Blender. Yeah, Blender is, I've tried Blender too, and I can 3D model like nobody does in Blender. Blender gave me a headache. It's cool software, but gave me a headache. All right, who asked me that? How you coming, Tyson?
Yeah, I was able to open it again.
Okay. Yeah, I had to put you on mute. I have a pretty bad echo. What you know about Unity, Josh? Jacob and... Oh, it's two Jacob. Jacob Murray, how you coming? Mr. Roseman? All right. How you coming, Tyson? You got it yet? Cool. Tools, reputation. Yes. Sure. All right. So the header, like I said, this is the title of your web page, and this is also where things like cookies get stored, and information gets sent back and forth to your computer. Actually, one of the hacks from way back when, back in the 90s, was going in and changing everybody's headers file, because the information is passed back and forth between a computer. So this is actually one of the major hacks way back in the early 90s, I think, or no, mid 90s. I can't remember when they were doing that. But however, it doesn't look like it. I mean, right now it's just saying this is the title thingy, so it's not really changed anything. So it doesn't really make sense quite yet. So we're going to fix that real quick. And I can't remember the command, so give me a second here. Title. So here, this is what we're going to put in. Whoops. Hang on. All right. So in between, this is the title thingy. This is what I want y'all to put. You want to put a title here, and then also make sure to close it out. So here, I'll do it up here. Let me move this out the way so y'all can see it. That, and then you can go to, make sure you go to File and Save after you're done. File and Save. Go back to your web page and reload it. Here's the page. So what should have happened is that this is the title thingy. You should not be able to see it on the web page no more. Instead, you should see it right up here in the tabs. You should see it right up there. Really bad drawing, but right up there. So essentially, we moved it from here to up there. All right, raise your hands when y'all got that. Cool. All right. So now, how much time we got? All right. So title moves it up there. The header is like the head of your body. It controls all the information that your body needs to operate. All right. So now let's go more into the body of the body of HTML. I'll go more into that one later. So the body is the majority of what you see. All right. So like the web page you're looking at now, just Google Docs with all that stuff, that is the body of the HTML code. So you can imagine how massive the body in some HTML code must be to get websites doing what they do, especially Google Docs or anything like that. So pretty much, like I said, the majority of what you see is in the body. Now the head contains the information that the body sometimes needs, but for right now, we're not going to really getting into that. We'll get into that later, the functions and methods and stuff like that. So there is the header tag. All right. So HTML comes with a set fonting options. I guess that's a word, fonting options. That allow you to increase or decrease the size of text, bold, italicize, and stuff like that. You can make them bigger or smaller using assets and using assets, JavaScript, and you can make them scroll across the screen. You can make them do all kinds of other fun stuff. But right now we're just going to get into the basics of HTML. So if I was actually put with there, it goes from letter H, and then from numbers 1 through 6, with 1 being the largest, 6 being the smallest. So 1 is up here, and 6 is way down here. So to actually use that, if I come here into the body, I can type in, let's just H6 here, and then H6 here. Make sure that this second H6 is closing. File, save, come here, reload. Whoops, I should have went 1. I had to go 1. Whoops. My bad. 1. Save. Here. There it is. Now it's really big. And to get it to reload, I just hit the reload button, by the way. So you don't have to close it out every time. Alright? Raise your hands if you got that. Really, Unity was too much for your processor. Were you doing 3D or were you doing 2D? Yeah, that's why. For the processor you're using now, Josh, that makes me nervous. Okay. So you have a different computer that you're on right now. Let me rephrase the question. Do you think your computer that you're on now can handle Unity? Okay, cool. You know, that might be next semester. I'm not sure. I hope we do it again this semester. I like doing that. That was fun. All right. So with this, you have, like I said, with HTML5, you have several formatting options already installed into HTML5 that allow you to make your web page look certain ways. The first one is the paragraph. So here you can see where we have this as a paragraph and this as a paragraph, and it's separated by these P's here. So open P, closing P, open P, closing P. And you can see how it indents it and makes it a paragraph. If I was to keep typing in there, this is a paragraph written by Walford or Emerson, blah, 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 blah. It would make that entire thing a paragraph, right? With including the blah, blah, blahs. But in even this here, we actually format this a little bit more using things like this, the bold. So B is for bold, open B, close B, and then anything in between it is going to be bold. If I typed Jimmy Crack-Corn and I don't care in between there, everything I write, Jimmy Crack-Corn, I don't care, will be all bold. I, of course, is for italics. And some of this stuff, if you go into, go to some websites, forums, and they get like really picky how you format stuff. Well, it's actually this is actually some of the commands we're doing now is how you do it. There's how those websites get formatted. U is underline, and open U, close U is underline. Strike through, I've never really understood the purpose of strike through, but you can have a strike through. I don't understand why you don't just delete the word. Just trying to be funny. And bold and italic here. So you can actually combine all of these into one, but here's the point I wanted to make earlier. So the first one to be open, let me get my fancy pen out again. What color? Dark green. So the first one to be open has to be the last one to be closed. All right. So here, B was open first, and it's closed last. All right. And I just tried to experiment earlier where I tried to like switch them up. Turns out it still doesn't work, but I'm sure it's like really bad code formatting to do it like that. But so first one open, last one closed. All right. You can see in my code here, first one open, and it's also the last one to be closed. Same thing here. I opened this one, I did title, or I closed title, and then I closed the head. Line break. This one actually turns out to be kind of important, and more important than I thought it was. Because one thing is you will hear me say over and over again, let's see who can, computers are what? Yes, I want y'all to answer. Computers are blank. Oh, Tyson, you let me down. Good job, Mr. Dennis. Actually, you're not wrong, though, Tyson. I can't argue with that. Close. Computers are stupid. All right? They're stupid. Not stupid. They're stupid. All right? It's the humans that make them smart. So, like, when we have, for example, technology. And we show where's that line, right? So in any type of sentence or words or string of words, if you type a break in here, and notice that this one doesn't have a closing. This is just one thing. It will break it down into the next line. So I didn't realize that was important until I saw a few of my friends doing this. And like if they were doing something like this, Seth Meyers, host, blah, blah, blah. So probably right here, there's a break. Right here, there's probably a break. Right there, there's probably a break. Depending on how they structure the code, all that other fun stuff. But more than likely, yeah, there is a break right there and a break right there. Because if not, it'll just keep going on and on forever, just like the song that never ends. All right. So, and then you have two different options as far as listing things. Like you might want to list your favorite top 10 places to eat, or the bullet points, or the 3 most important facts of radiology, whatever. So there's 2 types of lists. There's the UL, which is the unordered list, which creates the bullet points. Remember, UL, unordered, bullet points. OL is ordered, which lists them out in the order in which they are, 1, 2, and 3, which actually the OL here, and notice the LIs too. Sorry about that. The LIs, so UL, LI, close LI. All the way down, and then close UL. OL, ordered list, LI, close LI, etc., down to close OL. When you do the ordered list, you don't have to put the 1, 2, 3. It does that for you automatically. Okay, cool. Awesome. We got further along than everybody else. So now a short kind of quiz. Let's see how well y'all are paying attention. So give your web page a heading with a welcome message of your choosing. So with the largest size possible too. And while you are doing that, I need to be better at this. So I think I went too slow, but y'all let me know. There's a poll up, if y'all can answer it real quick. Okay. So apparently y'all weren't, okay, I thought I was going too slow, but maybe I was wrong. Too overly critical. Raise your hands when you think you got the, and put one more up, just because I get yelled at when I don't do these. Put your hands up when you think you have it done. That was fun, though, we did that. Raise your hands up, Josh, when you think you have this last part done. Let's show you guys your hand though. No, the page, Josh. Good question. So pretty much all he was really asking for was actually just do this. So hopefully y'all did the H1 thing. Yeah, you could have put it up there too. Just everybody use H1, right? To make it the largest size possible. Hopefully everybody did. All right. Last one. Or not last one. I'm trying to get to the... Yeah. So write a short paragraph, a couple of sentences about you, or the you want to be. If you want to be a Dumbledore or Harry Potter wizard or Justin Bieber's greatest fan, whatever. Put it into a short paragraph. I don't judge. I know Dennis, I think, is a fan of Justin Bieber. I'm not judging you. Just playing. I don't know if Dennis actually is or not. You know, he just said he was. I figured it was a joke, Mr. Dennis. Raise your hands up when you think you have it. And then I'm going to make it harder on you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this too. Cool. All right. Did I close that out right? I didn't. All right. So, file. I'll show you in a minute, Mr. Dennis. There we go. So when I grow up, I want to be Iron Man. That way I can fly around and do whatever I want. I can eat donuts in giant donuts. Awesome. All right. Who doesn't want to be Iron Man? All right. Here's the list, Mr. Dennis, but I can only show it for a few seconds here. So UL and then list LI, close, open, close, stuff like that. But here's the next part. See if you can type that out exactly as you see it. Oops. Oh, put the hands down. What are the shortcuts? What is the... I'm not sure the shortcuts on HTML, Mr. Tyson. File, save. Let's see if I got it. That looks right to me. Alright, so that's how I did it. That could have been actually done several different ways. You didn't have to do it the way I did it exactly. But the same, I could make everything a paragraph, I could put things in different orders, and it still would have worked out the same way. And we have the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Cool, so tonight we learned, how much time I got? We learned about, we learned about HTML, the very basics of HTML, what the headers are, the body is, HTML5, how it works on the internet, and the very basics of inputting information and changing around fonts. And we'll do a little bit more probably next class. Let's see. Yeah. Next class. One thing I forgot to mention last class, and I meant to. Anytime we're doing any type of new programming language, it's always very slow at first. All right, it's just kind of getting this out there. It's very slow at first because some of y'all have never keep working, by the way, if you're still working. Some of y'all have never seen this type of stuff before, so we take our time to kind of explain everything as clearly as I can, so that way y'all have a good feel for it. So usually like the first few classes with a new software is very slow, and then I step it up after that. As some of my other students will tell you, it's very slow going right at the get-go, but then as we go on, it gets I increase the speed a little bit. Yeah, raise your hand when you're done, please. And if you are doing this, and if you are find that you like coding and stuff like that, if you want to learn more, there's all kinds of resources out there to learn more. One of the ones we recommend is Code Academy. It's just codeacademy.org or .com. And you can learn HTML, which is already here. I think Java, C++, Python, a few other ones are in there. Yeah, so some of y'all are familiar with Code Academy. And programming, y'all, and I don't care if you want to do mechanical, robots, rockets, construction, roadways, whatever. Programming is the way the world is going. So there's going to be pretty much the two types of people, or three types of people. One, the idiot who says there's two types of people, those who can program and those who can't program. So, and I'll cover more into that probably later. All right, so it's 11:01 now. We will continue this another class. Actually, let me get a poll real quick. Not a poll, just a question. So we're teeter-tottering on 2 different labs for y'all. Either one, we can do like a mechanical hand that you control with a program, or 2, a robot that actually drives around and does whatever you want it to. Which one would y'all think y'all would prefer? A little mechanical hand that is able to grab things, or an actual wheeled robot? So give me hand or robot. Okay. You know what? Maybe I'll get industrious and I'll put the hand on the robot. We'll see. Alright, so it looks like robots usually winning out. Alright, robot it is. We will make a robot. Crap, now I'm going to have to figure out how to tell some people that can't see or see what they're doing how to build a robot. This is going to be fun. I hope my powers of description are as good as I think they are. Alright. Oof. Any further questions for me? Engineering, class-wise, science-wise, anything else? I gotta go study relativity here. Oh. 3. Oh, what's up, Tyson? Sure, what's up, Chelsea? Both of you. Here, let me unmute you. Tyson was first. What's up, Tyson?
Unmuted.
First. What's up, Tyson?
Wait, I'm writing it down, so you won't have to worry about it.
Right. What's up, Chelsea?
I'm taking an astronomy class. What kind of engineering would you find with astronomy?
That's actually a few different fields. One is the mechanical engineering that do the optics of like telescopes and stuff like that. Electrical engineers do the mechanics of it. But if you actually like want to study space, like just space, then that's like astrophysics and stuff like that, or astronomy. Engineering is more about building things that go into space, not necessarily studying space itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I study astronomy all the time. If you don't listen to this podcast, it's actually pretty good. This is where I get a lot of my information from. But yeah, engineering-wise, we build the stuff that goes into space,
Cool.
like the lunar robot, or not the lunar robot, well, lunar robots and Curiosity. That's one I was thinking of. Hang on. Nitro methane. I don't know what the freezing point of nitromethane is, but I will look it up. Nitromethane. This isn't NOS, is it? Propane with nitric acid. Melting point is negative 20 degrees. So this freezing point has to be really low. Oh, negative 20 degrees. Okay, they just put it wrong. Wait, no, that's melting point. Organic compound, chemical formula. By the way, at 11 o'clock class is over. Y'all can leave if you want to. Sometimes I will make y'all stay depending on what we're doing, but yeah, 11 o'clock class is usually over. Oh, yes, NOS. Drag racing, rockets, radio control. Yeah, this is what they use to power cars. That's what I thought it was. I don't know what its freezing point is. Why do you need to know its freezing point there, Tyson? Because if its melting point is negative 29 degrees Celsius, its freezing point is probably really far down there. what you can find. Do not trust. Look here. Don't challenge an engineering's Googling skills. All right. I will Google the crap out of stuff. And Jacob, to answer your question, you know what? I'm going to see about that. We will do it in the Google websites. I know we're going to do that. Notepad. I can do it in processing. I can do it in C++. I don't know how to do it in HTML. All right, y'all. I am going to bid y'all adieu while I do some work.